Kim Kardashian took me with her to Diddy's party. Everyone there was naked. There were different secret rooms where other parties were happening. Diddy offered me millions to participate in the freak-off. Kim Kardashian also took part and forced me to, but I refused.
I went to Diddy's late night party, and there Diddy forced me to bring North as well. He forced me to sell Northwest to him, but I refused. Kanye is putting false accusations on me.
We love you.
We love you.
Love. All right. Khloé, Chris.
Love you guys. Love you.
Love. Till we'll meet on the dance floor soon.
Oh,
Done deal.
please.
Done deal.
Yes.
No doubt.
Give the
Love.
best parties.
Well, this party, I think half the people there were butt naked. You would have loved it.
Did y'all know that Khloé Kardashian was on tour with Diddy when she was 16 years old?
The Kardashians could be dragged into the fallout from the Diddy scandal. The only real question, are they walking into the witness box or walking into charges themselves? Listen, this isn't a surprise to anybody who's paid attention. The Kardashians and Diddy have been uncomfortably, undeniably close for years. We're talking cameos on Kris Jenner's show, glossy social posts, and photos of Kay Jenner's partying with Diddy when some of them were still underage. And the chatter isn't just about celebrity mingling. Rumors paint some of those nights as the kind of wild, behind-the-velvet-rope madness that later made headlines, the very sort of scenes now wrapped up in Diddy's legal nightmare. And it doesn't stop at the women of the clan, past partners and friends. Big names like Kanye, Travis Scott, French Montana, Tyga, and Chris's longtime companion Corey Gamble have all orbited the same circles. So how deep do these ties run? What, if any, paper trail links them to the worst allegations against Diddy? And what has Kris Jenner's PR machine been quietly sweeping under the rug for decades? We watched the footage, we rewound the interviews, we traced timelines and stared at photos until the pixels blurred. The picture that emerges isn't neat, it's messy, tangled, and fertile ground for questions. So take a breath, we're diving in.
So who was with you this weekend?
A bunch of my friends.
Diddy, Quincy, Justin Bieber,
So far,
French
so good.
Montana.
Do you even know half the people you're naming?
No.
I got on a plane at 5:30 a.m. Well, this party, I think half the people there were naked. You would have loved it.
First stop, the recruiter rumor. People online keep whispering about a Ghislaine Maxwell type, an alleged go-between who brought young women into elite circles. And who gets named by the rumor mill? Kim Kardashian. Yes, Kim, seen at Diddy parties as far back as 2006, rubbing elbows at those now infamous white parties with Paris Hilton. That Paris Kim origin story, Kim as stylist, closet confidant, was her first real pass into the celebrity world. But multiple accounts suggest Kim had intersections with Diddy even before that famed white party. After 2006, the duo showed up at events together, posed for photos, and publicly exchanged warm greetings at games and awards shows. Some even say Diddy nudged Kanye toward the altar, a detail that Kanye himself hinted at in a wild BET Awards moment in 2022. None of this proves anything in court, but it does map a relationship that's long, visible, and, now, explosive. When alleged crimes reach the scale of what Diddy's facing, proximity becomes a story. Parties become potential evidence. Old photos and video footage become interrogations of past behavior. And in the center of it all sits Kris Jenner, the maestro of image control. The woman who could, if anyone could, orchestrate damage control on a global scale. So what are we missing? Where are the receipts? What timelines contradict alibis? Which parties were purely social? And which might have been the darker kind of soirees now at the heart of criminal probes? We're about to peel back those layers, frame by frame, claim by claim, and let the receipts do the talking.
So fun.
Well, I know you're known for the parties. When you think of a party or a good time, you
Yeah.
think of Puff.
You do.
But we've been known to
Always.
party with you a few
Yes,
times.
yes.
What are I don't know, some of you were just at Puff's birthday.
Yes.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Hold on tight. This is messy, it's dramatic, and it's exactly the kind of drama that blows up timelines, careers, and reputations. Ready for the receipts? Let's go.
He inspires so many of my choices, so many of my life choices, my wife choices.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, has disclosed disturbing details, accusing Kardashian of a scheme involving drugging high-profile men.
So clearly, Kim and Diddy weren't just casual acquaintances. They've been moving in the same circles for years, laughing together on carpets, popping up at the same parties, and greeting each other like old friends. But here's where the internet goes: full detective mode. Why do people think this connection runs deeper, darker, and far more sinister? Well, it all traces back to one viral spark. A TikTok blew up showing an alleged Entertainment Tonight segment in the background. And according to that clip, the FBI supposedly uncovered tapes, yes, tapes, of Kim doing things inside Diddy's home. Not harmless things, not cute influencer things. Illegal things. The kind of footage that would never see daylight unless federal agents cracked open a vault. That tiny piece of background footage sent the rumor mill into a Category 5 hurricane. Suddenly, Kim wasn't just a party guest from the mid-2000s. She was being painted as someone who might have been involved in whatever secret world Diddy was allegedly running behind closed doors. And whether the clip is real, misinterpreted, or totally fabricated, the internet ran with it like it was gospel. This is where the speculation skyrockets.
This girl. So if you have not heard, Kim Kardashian allegedly had some videotapes and audio tapes that was actually recovered in the raid at P. Diddy's home.
This is where people start asking the uncomfortable questions, and this is where the Kardashian-Diddy connection stops looking like Hollywood networking and starts looking like something much more unsettling. Let's keep going, because the next part gets even messier. Now, we couldn't track down that exact Entertainment Tonight clip ourselves, and trust me, we looked. But that doesn't mean it never aired. With the Kardashians, absence of evidence is never evidence of innocence. Kris Jenner has built an empire on erasing problems before the public even notices them, and this family is no stranger to unleashing cease and desist letters like confetti. Rumor has it Kim's own lawyer even targeted a vocal Twitter user who kept pushing these claims online. And here's where the plot twist hits. If Kim has truly been playing this alleged Ghislaine Maxwell-style role behind the scenes, that's a bombshell. This is the woman who brands herself as the face of criminal justice reform, the mom in neutral Skims loungewear who studied law to help people. She can't be mixed up in something dark, right? Well, look closer, and like nearly everything with this family, the shine starts to dull. Yes, Kim made a spectacle out of her law school journey, the crying, the studying, the baby bar saga, and celebrated passing the baby bar on her 4th attempt in 2021. But here's the kicker. She still hasn't finished her program. And according to a February 2024 insider, she might not finish at all. The source said Kim slowly realized how tedious it was.
I just have anxiety. Are you sure it's safe here?
Yeah, it's safe there. I promise you. Look, I went through the same thing. I promise you.
Yet that hasn't stopped her from positioning herself as a justice warrior. Kim publicly backed the Menendez brothers after Ryan Murphy's dramatized series blew up. Yet another headline-grabbing cause that conveniently aligned with her brand. And this isn't about shaming anyone who drops out of law school. It's about pattern. The Kardashians constantly build these shiny, morally righteous narratives: criminal justice reform, founding a church, philanthropic ventures, that conveniently distract from the messier realities. These causes look a lot like brand armor. But Kim doesn't need a law degree. She has the Skims empire, which ironically has had its own share of scandals. Remember when Skims' supposedly compostable packaging turned out to be plastic in 2022? Or when designer Camille Cherrier accused Kim of ripping off her designs in May 2024? Or when the SEC charged Kim for promoting Ethereum Max without disclosing she was paid, contributing to a pump and dump that fleeced investors? And we can't forget the big one, Kim's unwavering loyalty to Balenciaga, even after not one, but two alleged child exploitation scandals. First, the infamous ad with children holding teddy bears in bondage harnesses. Then, a campaign with Adidas where a model knelt over legal documents referencing a Supreme Court ruling related to child abuse prevention. Those documents didn't magically fall into the frame. Someone put them there. Kim issued a polished PR statement about being shocked and disgusted, but it didn't stop her from continuing to wear and promote the brand. This is what we mean by morally gray. She dips in and out of outrage depending on the optics of the moment. So, could Kim be involved in something as dark as a Ghislaine-level operation? Given the pattern, the circles she runs in, the brands she defends, and the selective morality, people think it's possible. But here's the twist no one sees coming. When it comes to the Kardashian-Diddy connection, Kim isn't even the most entangled. She isn't the longest-running link. She isn't even the first Kardashian to cross paths with him. The true origin story of this whole messy web starts not with Kim, not with Kris, but with Khloé. I know, Khloé, the internet's favorite Kardashian, the one people see as the most relatable. But when you sift through old Keeping Up with the Kardashians footage, receipts start showing up. According to a young Scott Disick clip, Khloé was connected to Diddy as far back as Con 2000 or 2001 wine.
We get a 787. We're gonna put beds in it. We should get a Challenger. When I fly with Puff, Puff has a whole back, it's a bedroom. It's a bed. Who needs that, really? I do.
I definitely was drinking at 16.
Yeah, Chloe was on tour with Puff when she was 16.
I did not start drinking till later.
You were driving cars at 15.
I stole cars at 15. I wasn't drinking.
And Khloé didn't just hint at knowing Diddy, she flat out confirmed it years later on Cocktails. With Khloé, she brought Diddy on as a special guest, sitting right there next to Kourtney and Kylie, like it was the most normal thing in the world. No nerves, no starstruck energy, just the vibe of someone reconnecting with an old, let's call it work acquaintance. That moment was subtle, but telling. It wasn't framed as, oh my god, we finally got Diddy on the show. It was more like, yeah, I used to work for him. Here he is. A casual confirmation slipped into reality TV banter, but in the context of everything we're uncovering, it hits completely different. Let's keep going, because Khloé's early connection to Diddy unlocks a whole new layer of this timeline.
I just remember I was young and I had so much, you're Puff Daddy. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I don't even know what I did. I just remember I would always be in the studio running around, but it taught me discipline and like even watching, what was that show you did?
I want to work for Diddy.
Want to work for Diddy. I really, because I worked for Diddy, so seeing just
I've had a lot of hustles.
Yeah.
And look, maybe it's all coincidence. Maybe it's all innocent. But knowing what we know now about how Diddy allegedly operated around drugs, minors, and vulnerable people, it suddenly feels irresponsible not to bring this up. Because right around the time Khloé was working for him, she got into that horrific car accident. She's described it herself. She was speeding, another car ran a red light, and the crash left her with severe leg injuries and brain trauma. She still wears a knee brace. She still talks about having memory loss even today. Now, is there proof this had anything to do with Diddy? No. But does the timing feel eerie in hindsight? Absolutely. What is confirmed is that after that so-called internship, Khloé stayed firmly connected to Diddy, even though he was 32 and she had only just turned 17. And that connection didn't fade as she got older. It actually strengthened. She attended his A White Party in 2009. Why? She partied with him in Las Vegas in 2014. Something she openly talked about on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. This wasn't some brief teenage summer job. This was a long-running relationship. One that kept pulling her back into Diddy's orbit. And when you zoom out, Khloé isn't some random footnote in this story. She might actually be the first link, the earliest thread, in the Kardashian-Diddy web that would eventually entangle the whole family. And trust me, the next layer gets even wilder.
Diddy, Quincy, Justin Bieber,
So far,
French
so good.
Montana.
Do you even know half the people you're naming?
No.
On a plane at 5:30 a.m. Go to this party. I think half the people there were butt naked. You would have loved it.
But here's where things go from, interesting to, oh, no, this is bad. Because when Khloé later described that Las Vegas night on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the details she casually dropped didn't sound like a normal celebrity party at all. Not a club night, not a VIP lounge, not a bougie celeb after party. No, the way she described it, it sounded exactly like one of Diddy's infamous freak-offs. The same kind of parties that former insiders are now describing as unhinged, chaotic, heavily drug-fueled, and deeply disturbing. The kind of parties that allegedly involved coercion, exploitation, and a whole lot of things that nobody wants their name associated with. Khloé didn't call it that, of course. She laughed it off in that Kardashian way. Oh my God, it was wild, it was crazy, it was so fun. But when you line up her description with what we now know about the behavior Diddy is being accused of, the similarities are chilling. The closed-off rooms, the free-for-all vibe, the private areas where phones were not allowed, the intense, almost frantic energy she mentioned, the way she framed it as one of those nights that she couldn't fully remember. At the time, it sounded like funny reality TV girl talk. In hindsight, it reads like a red flag with neon lights. And that's the problem with the Kardashian-Diddy connection. Nothing is damning on its own. But when you start stitching the pieces together, it forms a picture that is way darker than they ever expected we'd still be looking at, and we're not even close to done unraveling this.
We was actually in the studio, her and Scott Disick, with Ross and Meek Mill.
That's how you met Khloé?
Yeah. I didn't get her number at the studio. I hit up Puff, I'm like, yo, you got her number? And Puff sent her a text like, yo, French wants your number. She was like, give it to him.
My very dear friend, Sean Puffy Combs is here.
And here's the part that ties the bow on how deep Khloé's connection with Diddy really ran. Because that Vegas freak-off coded night didn't just end with a hangover and a funny story for TV. It also marked the era when Khloé started dating French Montana after her split from Lamar Odom. And guess who played matchmaker? Diddy. Yes, Diddy is literally the reason Khloé and French got together in the first place. This wasn't a casual, oh, we met at a party situation. This was coordinated, engineered, facilitated by someone who clearly had a tight, ongoing link with Khloé, tight enough to intertwine her love life with one of his own close industry friends. Think about it. Khloé is at Diddy's parties. Khloé is traveling in circles he controls. Khloé is being set up with artists he's connected to. Khloé is publicly reminiscing about nights that sound suspiciously like the environment insiders now describe in lawsuits. This isn't a cameo in Diddy's orbit, it's an entanglement, one that lasted years and seeped into multiple areas of her life. And when you realize French Montana himself has his own long history with Diddy, suddenly Khloé's relationship looks less like coincidence and more like another link in a chain that keeps looping the Kardashians right back to him. Which means Khloé wasn't just the first Kardashian tied to Diddy. She might have been the gateway, the person who opened the door for the rest of the family to step into his world. And trust me, what comes next in this timeline only gets messier.
Definitely like dating. This
good?
is
Yeah.
Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, or Puff Daddy and Halo.
And just look at the energy between them in that interview. It's not giving old family friend. It's not giving industry respect. It's giving weirdly intimate, like someone meeting their significant other's family for the first time. Awkward smiles, inside jokes, that overly familiar body language that makes everyone watching tilt their head a little. At one point, they even joked about dressing like a couple. A joke nobody asked for. A joke that only makes sense when two people are a little too comfortable with each other. The vibe wasn't professional, it wasn't platonic, it was off. You can literally feel the unspoken history between them, the kind of familiarity that only comes from years of private interactions the public never saw. It's the way they laughed too hard at each other's comments, the way they kept leaning in, the way Kylie and Kourtney just sat there like they were third-wheeling on Khloé's mystery situationship. And when you stack that moment on top of everything else, the early internship, the Vegas freak-off coded party, the matchmaking with French Montana, the picture starts to look less like chance and more like a long, complicated connection that nobody ever questioned at the time. But now, with Diddy's entire empire under a microscope, Khloé's role in this timeline suddenly feels a whole lot more significant and a whole lot more unsettling. And we're still not even at the messiest part. And of course, Khloé didn't just keep the connection alive quietly behind the scenes. She showed up for Diddy publicly too. She and Kim both attended his star-studded 50th birthday bash. And not only were they there, they were featured right at the beginning, of the official party video. Front and center, prioritized. Celebrities don't end up in that prime spot unless the host considers them important. So when you step back and look at the full picture, it's undeniable. Khloé has had a multi-decade, deeply familiar relationship, with Diddy that started when she was just 16 years old. Whether that relationship was ever romantic, parental, mentorship, or something else entirely, we don't know. But the longevity alone is enough to keep eyebrows raised now that Diddy's alleged behavior has come to light. And here's a layer people don't talk about enough. Khloé has always been treated like the other in the Kardashian family. Left out, compared, picked apart, not the favorite, not the it girl. Constantly fighting to feel included, valued, or accepted, not just by the public, but by the people in her own house. For someone with that emotional history, the desire to belong can be overpowering. So overpowering that it might drive her to bend her morals, lower her boundaries, or align herself with people she shouldn't, just to feel chosen. I mean, this is the woman who let a 5-year-old Northwest bully her into buying her a hamster. She didn't ask for, and knew would end in tears, simply because saying no meant conflict, disappointment, or rejection. If Khloé can't even stand up to a kindergartner in her own family, what happens when the pressure is coming from someone like Diddy? That's the question people are starting to ask, and the answers only get more complicated as this timeline unfolds.